Welcome back, dearest listeners, to Queen of Daggers, Heart of Fire, Episode 3 of our experimental Daggerheart adventure. I'm here once again with our very charming adventurers. First we have Katie as the inquisitive young Evelyn. How are you, Katie?
I'm well. I'm feeling inquisitive, so how convenient.
J-Ben as the currently silver-dusted Lemma. How are you, J-Ben?
I'm very good, Asteria, thank you.
David as OrLeon, who has some voices to manage.
Hi there.
How are you, David?
Doing my best to manage the voices.
This is a game where that's not necessarily a bad thing. We'll find out. And Carmela as Ginny, our willful fawn friend. How are you, Carmela?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It is so wonderful to be back with you all. Let us dive right back in. It's still that same night in the town of Carmela. That bright night with the moon that lit your way. The charcoal sky still streaked with red as OrLeon and Ginny in the town square see each other across what was your battlefield. 3 strange wolves, so like that nightmare beast. For Ginny it was a nightmare, for OrLeon I'm not sure, that you saw just yesterday, and your headmistress did not. Anyway, now it's very real. It's injured people. It injured you, Ginny. The pain of the fangs in your arm still burns, but it's a thrilling sort of burn as it has reminded you of a power you possess, the power whose name you learned not long ago, carved in giant letters to a cavern wall. Will, a word you suspect might be someone's name. OrLeon, you see at your feet Soren, the man from the Conjuries. You know him well. He's charged with keeping you safe. You can tell he's done his best. His sword is drawn, but the look in his face, you know the emotion now. It's something you feel thrumming through your veins. It's a new power you have, since the voice in that cavern called you Gift Giver. Fear, that's what they call it. As you look at each other across this square, perhaps it's because your minds connected the other day, but you both remember something Mantua said. Probably not the first time she said it, that mortal minds reach for the words they know. But fear, that's the word that comes to you both all of a sudden as you realize you have strength, power. But you look at Soren, not a poet, a normal person for all his skill. It's not a power to him. He's not stronger because of what you've released. How can that be? How could what he's feeling now strengthen you? OrLeon, he looks up at you. He's trying to speak, he's trying to sit up. He sees that the beasts are dead. The others, and he gestures wildly as he sits to the other townfolk who had been out. Some of them had been bit. They are clumped. As terrified as he is, they seem to not know what to do. But he also grabs your hand by the wrist. He's trying to say something, but he's still confused.
I'd like to put my hands on his shoulders. Is he hurt? Look at him and see if I can tell how badly he's hurt, and hold him securely as I examine him and try to help him slow down his breathing.
I don't think you need to roll. I think you can tell that he seems to have been clawed on the arm. He's injured, but not grievously. Like, he'll need some medical attention, but he's, breathing fine. He'll be able to walk fine. It's not urgent. He's taken hits in the past, but your touch certainly calms him. It helps a little bit.
Can we look around and see whether anyone is critically injured and in need of healing?
Yes. Is there any kind of roll you would like to make? Just because there's a lot of people in it. Basically, this moment, I think, is just sort of a triage moment for OrLeon. You know, where do you want to... As it is, honestly, for Soren as well. He's stressed, and it's trying to figure out what the next thing that needs to happen is.
Yeah, I'm trying to consider if there's anyone who is critically injured that I need to use regeneration on.
There's definitely a clump of people near the inn. At least one person is injured, and from where you are, it's hard to tell how bad it is because people are just so generally confused and scared. So it could be very serious, or it could be people who would normally know what to do don't.
Okay, maybe go over and approach them.
Great. So you head on over, and you see, perhaps, you're only in the inn very briefly. You might recognize a man who had been behind the bar when you passed through, something of a burly fellow. I'll tell you for free, he seems like someone who probably would have stood out in front of people when he heard there was danger, and was thus the first to take a hit. He is on the ground, and his hands are over his stomach, but he's telling people that he's not hurt. He's telling people, there wasn't anything. I don't know. I didn't see anything. And he won't let people touch him. And near him, nearby, just on the fringe of this clump, there's a woman about his age calling out for Winona. I will pause here and cut just to the other side of the square. Ginny is near Winona, the cheeky girl who followed you to the cavern and helped you find the entrance. She doesn't react to any of the hubbub by the inn, but she is looking up at the sky with the red streaks and looking around at everyone. She notes your arm where it's still bleeding a little bit. She looks around again, and her eyes fix on a nearby small building. And she says, I wonder if we're in trouble. That is when it begins to rain. The rain that began at the end of last session. As the rain falls, it's not a very cold rain. It's especially I think to those who have been fighting, it's a little bit refreshing. Winona reacts though and grabs your uninjured hand, Ginny, and pulls you in to the small stone building nearby, which you now know is a shrine, a twofold shrine, because it is a shrine to both the Queen of Harrows and the Queen of Rain. She says, I don't know how much time we have, but maybe we'll be safe in here.
I look up at the side of the shrine that is Harrows. We have one like this back home, and I feel equally relieved mixed with dread because I feel partially at home in the presence of Harrows, but still reeling from what happened. And I think this is probably the first time I realized that my arm really hurts. But I stop looking at the shrine and look down at Winona.
She's staring at the representation on the other side, at the statue, the figurative statue. It's not a literal portrait, but the sculpture of the Queen of Rain. And she looks fascinated, but antsy. Mm-hmm. Her hands are on her hips. She looks a little bit wiggly, and she turns back to you, and she says, I don't know what the best thing is right now. I thought I would want to go find my aunt, but I don't want to leave you four. I mean, especially not. And then she shuts up as you begin to hear music. And we will return to Hawthorne's cottage, where we left Evelyn and Lemma speaking to the hearth poet of Coromel, Poet Hawthorne. You had revealed everything to the agitated poet, everything that had happened in the Cavern of Bones, how you had discovered a mysterious secret third queen of Lacuna, Glory, the Queen of Bones, and possibly released her from what seemed to be an exile. Hawthorne mentioned to you that Primer Mantua had told him in his youth the same thing he just told Lemma, that centuries ago, when the elven Mantua was herself young, the twin queens of Lacuna, Harrows and Rain, were often referred to as the Queens of Hope. But no one calls them that anymore. Curious. And he asked you, had you ever heard the old creation myths of the Lord of Iron and the Lady of Madness, which Evelyn suddenly realized rang a bell. One of her parents, in hushed, angry whispers, with another primer at the Vespertine Conjuries, arguing about the Lady of Madness before someone walked away. The mysterious book, the art book that the two of you saw with your librarian, Primer Cathania, just yesterday, contained very strange artworks indeed. So, as the rain first falls, tinkling against the shingled roof of the cottage, Evelyn, do you respond?
Evelyn has both hands cupped around the teacup that Lemma has put in front of her. Her fingers are drumming slightly, almost like they're playing a piano, but she doesn't play the piano. It's like there's a method to the rhythm of her fingers on the teacup. Her mind is racing. She's already exposed everything they've done. It's already exposed herself as possibly the person who said the word that maybe brought the havoc of this night down on everyone in this town. And who knows how exponential those consequences will end up being. And she looks at Lemma, who told her to tell the truth, and she looks at Poet Hawthorne. There was a book. I'd forgotten about it until just now. Something about my parents. Is anyone else so very tired?
You certainly earned your fatigue tonight, but we have to make sure everyone's safe, I'm afraid.
The book. Do you understand the book? The book. It appeared again yesterday. Primer Cathonia had it brought to the Larksong Conjuries and showed it to me, and Lemma saw it, and that was only yesterday. It was the same book. I'm certain of it.
A book concerning the Lord of Iron and the Lady Madness?
It was called Great Works of a Great Realm. And it was full of art, depictions of art. We didn't look at it very long. So it was quite, there was something to it. Yes, there was something to it.
Both of you make me some sense roll.
Like instinct?
Yes.
I rolled 17 with fear.
Oh. I've rolled 2 11s, which I believe is a critical success.
That is indeed a critical.
Do I get hope for that?
Yes. What a pair of rolls. Wow, okay.
Oh, I get to clear a strat and gain a hope. That's lovely.
This is perfect for you. So here's what Evelyn sees in Hawthorne's reaction. That this is very specifically surprising to him. Not just that there would be a book. You know, it's already been implied that this is the kind of thing that oral tradition, etc. But when you say art, he has a very specific reaction. That means something to him.
Evelyn cocks her head. Does that mean something to you?
His mind is racing.
Have you heard of that book?
He says, he looks at you, considers you. On that critical roll, he is considering you as though he had not seen you properly before.
Get that a lot.
And he says, not specifically. Not that book title, but an art book linked to the Lady of Madness. And you saw it. Up close.
Oh, yes. But then in the cavern, there was the image of her, of the woman from the book. I'm so sorry. I am so very tired and overwhelmed. But there was a similarity. I don't know if I was seeing what I saw in the art book, or if I was remembering the art book differently because of what I was seeing. I really can't say, but they were the same. They were the same.
So, Evelyn, on your critical success, you are seeing Poet Hawthorne wants to ask you a lot of questions, wants to talk to you. It's trying to figure out what it's all right to tell you, to ask you. Focus completely on you. You're blowing his mind. This was all completely unexpected. Lemma, with your fear roll and a failure with a 17, you miss all that because you hear the music I mentioned, and you have heard it before, and you are remembering something that distracts you. You remember the one time that you heard this music. It is a tinkly music that starts like it's imitating the sound of the rain hitting the roof, but it's also a bit like what we think of as maybe Calliope fairground music. You heard it in travels with your family, the elegists who traveled Lacuna, assisting average people with the realities of death. Immediately, you are taken back, and to be clear, this is more than you just remembering. This is powerfully, this memory is called up into your mind and preoccupies you, unbidden. Tell me your parents' names.
Lemma's mother is named Silence, and his father is named Lament.
Silence and Lament, two of the most prominent figures in your small community of elegists.
Yes. Silence is the liturgist of that band of elegists, and Lament is the psalmist. So Silence is the decider and the keeper of lore, and Lament is when it is appropriate to lead mourners in a recitation, the psalmist is the one who does so.
And could you tell us about when you reach a place, or when you travel, where do you stay? Do you have tents on the road or wagons, or what's the physical reality like of traveling as an elegist?
Wagons and tents. So it's a pretty sparse existence on the road. Traditionally, you're not supposed to keep much. There is one wagon that just holds the texts, and then the other wagons are for people, and basically, yeah, in between stays in towns, we would camp.
You see this as clearly as the day it happened when you were 11 years old. Well before, I was going to say your kindling, but then I don't know if Lemma thinks of things in those terms. Lemma would tell us that he had no kindling, that it was all a mistake. But this is well before that mistake. Anyway, your community or family has just reached a town. not a large one. One similar to Coramel. I don't think Lemma would even remember where it is on a map at that age. Oh, you tell me, maybe actually at 11, Lemma was quite interested in those things.
I think the Elegists do a sort of circuit, and every band of Elegists covers typically a certain territory. So it would have been a town that Lemma visited a number of times. So I think he probably would know, he would have a sense of where it is and what it's called.
All right. Let's say it's Alpenglow, towards the south of Lacuna. Kind of in the middle of nowhere. It took you a while to get there. More days camping out, not that close to the two rivers, major rivers. And you finally arrived and packed everything up. Alpenglow is always hospitable. The Elegists, you're received joyfully. It's begun to rain, but the Elegists are used to rain, and anyway, you get to sleep indoors tonight. The Alpenglow community has a barn, common town hall type structure where beds have been made up. You see your father in this town hall. Lament is going over his notes about the last time everyone was here. You're in this spacious building. You've been in them before, but it's so long between them that there's always something a little special about them. Ceilings that are high. What's your relationship like with your father? Would you approach him while he's going over his notes, or?
My father, I would. My mother, I wouldn't. My father smiles easily.
And he does now. As he goes over a page of notes, he puts it aside in case you want to look it over. He knows that you won't get them out of order or anything. He knows that you need to learn what he does, since you'll be doing it one way or another.
I grab him.
And when your mother's not around, sometimes he asks for you to jog his memory. So it's very helpful to have you around, if he's being honest. And he asks you, do you remember this town, Lemma? Do you remember the last time we were here?
It's been a while since we were here last. We've been here before, I know that. But it's not on our regular circuit. It's kind of on the edge, and we come here every few years. So I shake my head.
That's good. For now. Next time you'll remember, but you were too young anyway. They're good people here. It's easy to get attached.
And Lemma nods sagely, as though to say, and that's bad.
I know. You'll stick with the group. We'll go see things together when your mother is ready. But remember what we talked about. I know you're at that age. You'd like to meet more people, but you have to be careful.
Lemma says, I know, but is also thinking of what?
He looks you over and makes a decision that he's not going to press it, that there's no point in giving you things to worry about just now. He says, we don't know yet what will be. There are some elderly, some sick. We might be here a while. We don't know how many elegies we'll be doing, but they're close-knit. There will be a lot of people will want to bargain. People will want to. They won't understand.
I think this catches Lemma by surprise, and he sort of cocks his head and says, bargain?
Yes, when there's death, when it happens to people themselves, they don't understand. You're special, Lemma, that you, even at your age, understand these things a little better than most adults.
Lemma stands a little straighter, but tries not to look too proud.
You understand forever. You understand gone. You understand accepting what happens and not arguing with it. Accepting your fate as you're a good, wise boy. Not that it's people's fault. We live in a confusing world, and it's made more confusing by the people who change things and make the rest of us think that things can change when they can't. When someone we love dies, most people, they just don't understand it. They can't see past tomorrow, and then when tomorrow comes and it's still forever, it's still gone. There's anger, there's something that they feel that they don't recognize. And it's our job to control that, to turn that into something else.
Lemma is absorbing all of this, and Lemma's affect is going to be pretty familiar for those peeking back from the future. But he's small for his age, and he sort of has the exaggerated seriousness of precocious children. And he's been listening very closely, initially with the sort of like, I want to do a good job and listen good. And then as his father has gone on describing this, he starts to absorb it more, and he eventually says, "That sounds painful."
Yes, and that's what we help with. People trust each other. We have to in Luna. There's so much that's hidden from us. We have to rely on each other. And then, at a certain point, the people we rely on are hidden from us forever. That trust doesn't end. That trust is powerful. That's an energy that can be dangerous when it's frustrated, but it's beautiful when it's pointed at something beautiful. It's what your mother and I try to do, and you're already starting to do it well. But we need to keep doing it because our world is built so that the people in it keep getting tricked and trapped into these patterns. Here, and he reaches into his big satchel that you love, the big worn leather satchel, and he pulls out something curious, a beat-up book that you recognize as a novel, which are very forbidden. And he shows it to you.
Lemma sort of steps, but he cringes a little bit.
We don't like stories. We keep all of ourselves away from, and he flips the pages of the book. It's called narrative because it teaches people that their lives follow a pattern, that things happen for a reason, that there'll be a beginning, a middle, and an end, that everything will turn out the way they want in the end, and that there's sense to it. And it's a beautiful lie, but it is a lie. And when that lie is revealed, it breaks people, Lemma. And sometimes our job is pain because it's difficult to live without that lie. But to live with that lie and then suddenly lose it is the most pain. That's why we elegists live honestly, so we can see where other people have lost their lie, and we help them. We are that bridge. The poets make lies into truth and truth into lies. They can't help normal people like us.
Father, why are you telling me all this? Or more accurately, why are you telling me all this now?
I think you're getting to an age where the lies get more beautiful, and you'll want to see what lies are out there. It's natural to wonder if your mom and dad have the whole story. I can't keep an eye on you all the time when we're in a town like this, someplace new. It's your job to talk to people and learn about them. You have to understand a life you'll never live. So many lives you'll never live. And I think you're old enough to understand the choices you're making. The choices I hope you'll make.
You don't have to worry about me, Father.
Well, that word you said at the end means I do. And the rain picks up a bit, and as it does, you hear that music. Calliope at first. Just a tinkle, a little bit, a strain, and your father hears it too, cocks his head. No. And he holds his hand up to you, the just a moment gesture, and strides towards the door. looks outside. He almost collides with your mother, Silence. And true to her name, she does not need to say anything. He sees her face, serious and confirming his thought. And she turns and goes on more business. He turns back to you. Whatever you've unpacked, pack it.
Yes, Father.
He goes and packs up his things and pauses. He looks at you. He remembers what you just said. Do you hear that music? Do you hear it?
Yes?
Remember it?
Lemma concentrates, visibly, remembering it.
We are kind. We do not traffic with the Zephyr Court. Everything I've just said about lies and stories and beautiful, that is, we have to go. The town will be fine. They'll make their choices. This is heresy for us. Don't speak of it to others. But we are going to go before they show up, before she shows up. You understand?
Yes. Who?
The Zephyr Court. The Rain Queen's Court. Just shows up sometimes.
Lemma's very confused and very trying to do a good job. And he just starts running around like packing his stuff.
Your mother's already rounding up the others.
Okay, should I help?
Once you finish with your things, yes, go see if your mother needs help. It shouldn't take long.
Lemma quickly finishes. He doesn't have much, none of us do. He packs his little bag and throws it in the cart. And he runs off to find his mom.
And that is what plays in front of your eyes, essentially, in one long instant, as you hear this music. You'd heard maybe a minute of it, 8 years ago, getting a little louder and then quieter as the wagon tore away. I'm guessing you'd never asked more about this?
No.
Hawthorne has heard it and stopped mid-sentence speaking to you, Evelyn, and looks back and forth between you both. You should probably run? Or some... I don't...
Run?
And he grabs and throws a few books in a much less impressive satchel than your father's, Lemma, and some cloth, bag. Everything's a satchel, though. It says, if the Rain Queen is suddenly arriving, I don't think it's a coincidence. I doubt she's pleased. Oh dear, you're just children, sort of. I have to go to this cavern and see if I can figure out what exactly you did.
It collapsed. It was collapsing behind us. I don't even know if there's anything left.
Well, splendid. I'll head in that direction. Well, then I'll go. I'll go protect the townspeople. I don't know if they'll need protection. Maybe it's all fine. Maybe this is just a random. Where are you going to go?
Where can we possibly go that the court of the Queen of Rain can not find us?
There's countries, probably countries safer than not. The countries, perhaps. There's the Vespertine countries, is at least not your... There's Whitmorn.
Whitmorn?
Try Whitmorn. It's close. It'd buy you some time.
Lemma, when he first heard the music, kind of sank to the, down against the kitchen counter, kind of sank to the floor and looked shaken. He hears Whitmorn, and he bolts upright and says, "What do we have to fear? Tell us plainly."
I cannot tell you anything plainly, my boy, not in a situation like this. All I know is you've discovered a Queen of Bones who had been exiled behind the Caudal Ward by the Queens of Rain and Harrows. You freed her, and now the Queen of Rain is paying us a visit.
And you really think our best solution is to run away.
And he steeples his fingers and opens his mouth to speak and waits for wise words to come out and says, that was my... All right, follow me, I suppose. I truly do not know what is about to happen.
Well, we can't go anywhere without our companions or Mr. Soren.
Yes, you have Soren to help protect you. All right, you can... what do I do? What do you do, Hawthorne?
Evelyn is so over Hawthorne in this moment. She turns to Lemma. We'd best go round up the others and see what we can see. And she walks out of his house into the rain.
Yeah, Lemma follows and says, turns in what is now becoming a Lemma trope, turns on his heel and gets the last word with Hawthorne and says, it would be a service to tell us the truth, and just leaves. Doesn't even wait for more information.
Hawthorne also dashes out. You could look what direction he's going in if you would like.
Lemma just follows Evelyn.
Evelyn is heading to the town square because she knows that was an option of where people might go, and that's probably where Soren is. So she's hoping Ginny and OrLeon are both there as well, but that's where she's at.
OrLeon, the rain is falling. A strange, pleasant music has begun in the distance. It's quite incongruous with the scene before you of this man on the ground, clearly injured, insisting that nothing happened, that there was nothing. I'll give you a chance to do something first. What's OrLeon's reaction?
Since seeing Soren on the ground, my sense of prior to this, even through the battle, I felt a sense of being alive in a way I never had. I saw, it's almost impossible to describe, but bigness. It all felt huge. The world, reality felt larger than it ever had before. And seeing Master Soren on the ground, hurt, but not only hurt, lost, uncertain what to say, uncertain what to do, I understood felt for the first time that chaos, the chaos that I have always craved so lustfully, is powerfully destructive. And that's what I'm thinking as I see this man and feel the rain. But as I hear the music, I feel comforted. I look up. I look for the source of the music. I want to see where it's coming from. Can I make an instinct roll to see where it's coming from?
Yes.
Is that 2d12s?
Yes.
It's 12 on the hope die, 11 on the fear die.
Nice. First of all, take a hope. Would you say you're using your physical senses or something else?
No, I'm not using my physical senses. I'm using the sense through which Kasmene touches me. So it's touch, but not touch. It's sensiveness, sensuality without, or senseness without being one of the five senses of which we would speak.
Great. So, as you do that, you realize the rain that is falling is not touching you. You are not getting wet. It is not hitting you.
What?
It's cooling you. It's cooling you like a gentle breeze. But it's not bothering you. And the music is coming from the rain, but not the sky. It is like, wind, that sense of breeze is moving towards you. It's coming from the north, let's say, the northwest. It's just moving closer on a breeze.
Okay.
As you're looking around, you see Soren has regained his footing, and he is dragging one of the fallen dire wolves towards you and the townspeople near you, towards the man on the ground. His one good eye is still wide with fear. You can tell that it is taking all of his will, or what have you, to keep himself on this task.
Okay, can I go help him?
You can, yes, absolutely.
I am in the midst of feeling terribly guilty that I was having a moment while he was injured, and and reminding myself that the real world exists and there are things to be done.
And when you join him, it is infinitely easier for you than for him.
Go figure.
And his shoulders relax, and you follow his lead. He drops the beast in full view of this crowd, and a wave of confusion, you hear it pass through them. They know. They see Soren, they understand that something has just happened. There are muffled little cries, not quite yells. They don't understand. Some people are looking where it is, and some people are looking to each other. Soren takes out a large hunting knife, and he says to you, the leg, a paw, can you find me the leg? Any leg.
Can I find him a leg?
Yeah, you can see that this is a wolf to you, like a strange looking wolf, but you understand.
Yes, does he, can I, so I'd like to show him the leg.
He cuts off one of this creature's paws. He's adept at it. You know, he's clearly hunted. It does not take as long as it would take someone who did not know what they were doing. It's not, most of us would not consider it pleasant, but it's not prolonged. And he takes the severed paw and holds it and looks at it and considers it, and you see his body change.
Whose body change?
Soren's. Sorry, not literally change, but his posture change. Sorry, he doesn't transform. But he relaxes a bit, and he tosses it to the ground in front of the man on the ground and the assembled people. And there is a change amongst the crowd, and a moment of quiet, and then whispers, talking amongst them. And the man on the ground looks at it and groans and clutches his stomach again and says, "A wolf? What?" And he looks to the woman who had been calling for Winona. "A wolf? What happened?" And it becomes clear to you that they can see the paw, and some of them are looking where the rest of the beast is and puzzling at it.
Okay. So I'm quickly realizing that I can see things that other people can't see. I mean, I've known that before. This is what all of our training has been about, and so it's not new. And yet to be having this experience in relation to these people in this moment of great need and terror feels like an awesome weight. And I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to point them to the rest of the wolf or protect them from its existence, though they clearly now know it exists. I want to be of service, and I don't know how.
Soren looks to you. He seems much like his usual self now. And he says, "It is hard for us. We cannot see as you see, you poets. But if you train as, shall we say, my people like me sometimes train. If you focus on parts, sometimes we see a fraction of the world that you poets see, but sometimes you can work You can protect yourself. That was something. Something happened. OrLeon, where are the others?
I call for Ginny at the top of my lungs, as loud as I can.
And as you do, the sound is carried away in this breeze, this music that gets louder as the source appears. All of you see, emerging as though from some sort of fog, not appearing as though from invisible, but walking, marching upon you, a host of, a parade of, a circus of people, creatures, the Zephyr court. The music, a hand ground instrument you're not familiar with, is in the hands of the man who is leading the crowd, who or whatever he is, a man in a long patchwork cloak with many pockets and a welcoming grin on his face as he smiles and chats with his fellows. There is a tortoiseshell Qatari woman, tall and elegant, dancing behind him. There is a white rabbit the size of a horse.
That's a metaphor.
A giant albatross flies over in a triumphant arc and poops on some of the townspeople. It's hard to tell how many people, aside from the rabbit and the bird, it's mostly, it's people in colorful outfits, singing, dancing. You actually only see the one instrument, but the music is more than that. As they fill the square, the light seems to grow. They're lifting people to their feet. You still see and hear the rain. It's not clear if anyone else has noticed that you're not getting wet. It's beautiful. It's refracting the light from now. As they're closer, you see there are people bearing lanterns on poles that cast, who knows what the light source is inside them. But the Rain Queen's Carnival is now in town.
I think OrLeon is the only one in the square at the moment, right?
At the moment. Let's cut to Evelyn and Lemma arriving, because I'm curious as to how I'm curious how either of them would react upon seeing this. You're coming up the path from the cottage, and you hear this music grow, and you see these lights.
Evelyn would stop. What do you think we should do?
Lemma, as they've been walking, Evelyn would catch him sort of like mouthing words to himself.
Does he do that often?
Yeah. Yeah. And he stops and he stares fixedly at the square, pauses for a moment, and finally says, "Whatever we deserve, we might as well get it." And goes ahead.
And I'm going to spend another fear. And you hear a voice behind you. Wise words, wise words. Took them right out of my mouth. And behind you is a man in a long patchwork coat with many pockets, holding but not using a hand grind instrument. Lemma, I believe?
This is maybe in the top 3 weirdest things that Lemma has experienced today, but that's a hard maybe. So he just turns, and I think at this point is just in a place of utter resignation, and just says, "Yes."
Lemma, I just want to remind you that the telepathic channel between us is still open.
Yeah. You're not getting any words from Lemma, but
no,
you're getting
she's not expecting any either.
Yeah, but no, I think it's
Katie wanting to remind you.
Thank you for the reminder, but because you're getting a color of like the kind of defiance of somebody who knows they're guilty and isn't trying to hide it, but also is just like, do what you're going to, like, do it.
Resignation to one's
just do
fate.
it. Stop wasting my time.
Yeah.
And he puts up a hand and bows at the waist, like folding in half without moving his feet, and back up and says, "Well, it's an honor to meet someone who apparently deserves an audience with the Queen. Would you follow me?"
Oh dear.
And
It's our second today.
At hearing Evelyn say, "Oh dear," something in Lemma changes. And that like color of defiance kind of vanishes, and his shoulders relax, and he turns to Evelyn and just thinks, "We're going to be all right."
Evelyn thinks back. All right.
Let's go.
With as much confidence as she can muster. Yes, certainly running seems ludicrous at this point.
Yeah.
She will attend with Lemma.
Running would be the act of somebody who wanted to change their own story.
Oh.
The man turns sideways and gestures to proceed. It's back towards the cottage is the direction, though it's unclear if that's the destination.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
I'm the peddler.
Do we know that name? Is that a well-known name of the Zephyr Court, or is it a title?
Do you think you know anything about the Zephyr Court?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is this the kind of thing that tales are told of on the road?
I mean, yeah, he's a guy. If you know about the Zephyr Court, then you would know that he's sort of the head courtier of the Zephyr Court. I don't know if you two know much.
I should make a knowledge check with my Loreborn ability.
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
this. This is exactly the kind of thing that I would make it on.
Touche.
Just make sure. Remember, we're playing a game?
Yeah.
So that I get advantage on this roll. I got a 12 with hope. Seems low.
It does seem a little low, but it was with hope.
Yay.
Yes, so you've heard of the peddler. You know that he's the head of the Zephyr Court, sort of, the head steward.
I keep wanting to call him the White Rabbit, but that's not the same thing.
And again, there's like folklore about running into him, and he sells
Pedals.
Yeah, he sells like good luck junk. He's a classic.
Yeah. The Sesame Street guy.
It's a classic. If you're nice to him, if you're nice to the down on his luck guy you run into, then good things happen to you. That kind of thing.
Can I ask a general knowledge background question?
Sure.
I have in my notes something that the Queen of Rain is associated with the creation of poets.
Yes.
Is that something that we all know? Like, what is the relationship between, like, us as aspiring poets? What do we sort of like? What is our view of the Queen? Is there a consistent collective view of the Queen of Rain and her relationship to us and what we do inside of this world?
It's sort of a folk tradition thing, so it's not like you are taught at the conjuries, this is the science. Aside from the fact that everything in the realm is, thanks to the two queens, basically, when people ask, why are some people poets and some people not, is it hereditary, it's viewed as random and thus chosen by the Queen of Rain.
But it's not like a patron saint kind of thing. It's not like we expect her to, like we think of her as she's not our like protector or our special creator or like where we don't feel a particular.
Actually, you might. I mean, both. That's a great point. Like the poets are thought of as closer to both queens than most people, because your power is an extension of their power. You're kind of their helpers in protecting the realm, because you are connected to the caudal ward that is of their power in a way that no one else is.
And are we connected to both of them equally, or one more than the other?
Your understanding is, you don't know for sure, but it's treated as, thankfulness to both queens. The vibe of it is sort of like, Rain maybe created you, and Harrows is
shaping us.
Is more like the training and the
conjuries.
The conjuries is more about her. Just anything that is
that's the impression I
like
had.
Acute and unpredictable is Rain, and anything that's sustained and involving foresight is Harrows. So there are aspects of it that are both. Yeah.
It's sort of an Apollonian and Dionysian kind of.
That's exactly correct. Yes.
Okay.
And so you might relate, and any given poet might kind of relate more
Right,
to
but
one
that's
than
a
the other.
personal, it's more of a personal
Yeah.
relationship. But like as poets, we revere them
Yeah.
both as benevolent, it seems, right? As benevolent forces.
Oh, completely benevolent, yeah.
And okay, great. Thanks.
But
Yeah.
very, very powerful.
Yeah.
So if you were on their bad side, anything could happen.
Right, like we serve them, we don't serve them like, we're not like middle management, or maybe we're middle management, but they're not like, they're like way above upper management. They're like,
Yeah.
What a stupid metaphor. Analogy.
Okay. Well, I know where Evelyn sits on that spectrum of comfort with one queen or another.
Yeah.
I just want to check kind of where I fit into this system.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'd like to check.
Yeah. So I know that my family is like not about this court.
Correct.
And I wonder if it's a question of like, we appreciate what the Queen of Rain does, but not the vibe. Or is it a question of like, we're actually anti-queen? Or is it a question of like, we think the Queen of Rains is great, but just has bad advisors?
I don't know if Lemma fully knows. How trained do you think Lemma was? Like, how cooked was your dough?
I think relatively, I mean, by, 8 years on from that conversation, Lemma has begun to be sort of inducted into the mystery. And I think has like a grounding in liturgy. And I think a lot of the liturgy relates to the queens as like sources to which gratitude and acceptance should be directed.
Great. Perfect.
When Lemma's father referred to this is heresy to us, was he speaking of the Zephyr court? It felt like that happened, or am I misremembering? It felt like it happened while he was telling Lemma to pack up, we gotta get out of here because they're coming.
I believe so. And I will say, you've put your finger on a bit of a paradox that maybe would have been in the back of Lemma's mind at a certain point.
Yeah.
Because you're right that there is the queen that Elegus would invoke most often would likely be Rain.
Yeah.
Because of the unpredictability, the accepting her wisdom. So what was that about? What is the heresy in her court? And I think it is odd that with all of that training, your parents never really spoke more about the Zephyr court, except to avoid it.
Yeah.
And I truly don't think that it was we're afraid of the court, they'll kill us. Truly we don't truck with that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a drive-in movie coming to town, and that's not for us.
Yeah. And I don't know if you would need to learn more about it or if you understand the vibe. But give me some kind of roll.
Great. Let's say that this is a knowledge roll. A 11 with hope.
Knowledge. You have been reading some novels since you left home. Some forbidden texts about protagonists who have beginnings, middles, and ends. Those beautiful lies. What is Lemma's understanding, do you think, of the Queen of Rain? Could you describe like her deal from Lemma's?
Yeah. So I think the queens are this expression of like balance and cycle in the Elegus tradition. And the Queen of Rain represents transition, beginning, and end. And the Queen of Harrows represents basically what happens in the middle in terms of the cycle of life. So when people cross the threshold from life, that's basically the Queen of Rain shepherding them. And also when we are able to forget, that change from remembering to forgetting is something that the Queen of Rain is associated with.
So, as you've investigated more these beautiful lies that your parents or community were so against. And you've understood the Queen to be about beginnings and ends, and your community's job was to help them understand the ends. And your father impressed upon you that the lie was meaning. You needed to accept the honesty of a random existence, essentially, or an indifferent existence. And the Zephyr Court represents, you now understand, something that is very, like the entertainment aspect of the Zephyr Court. You've discovered that feeling in literature and narrative. That feeling of randomness is good for me, of people not understanding randomness. Randomness will work in my favor. Randomness is part of the narrative. It will, this is Zephyr Court will pop up and bring beauty into my story. And since you rolled with hope, I'll just complete the thought that I think that your parents, if not your whole community, had a sense of the Zephyr Court specifically corrupts the aspect of the Rain Queen that was important.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Great, where were we? Right this way, the peddler has said.
And we follow, I believe, yeah.
Fantastic. And Evelyn finds herself alone in the path.
Oh.
As Lemma...
Oh, I wasn't invited.
You were not.
Oh.
I think Lemma did offer to Evelyn that she should come.
I believe the peddler has left without me, yeah.
Yeah, the peddler didn't care.
The connection is still open, though. The telepathic connection. So,
what's the text on that?
Evelyn believes the connection is still open. You may open a line of mental communication with one target you can see. Oh, so no. Oh, well, no.
And
no.
with Lemma, she would never know.
Wait, you open a line of mental communication with one target you can see. So I open it with someone I can see. This connection lasts until you use this spell to connect with another creature. So I would interpret that as it is still open.
Okay, I stand corrected.
If there are not other rules to be...
No one's counterspelling it or anything. Just go, yeah.
Where have you gone?
So, Lemma.
Great.
You walk past the peddler's arm and straight forward. He's gesturing sort of off the path towards trees. And at first nothing seems to change. And then suddenly you blink, and amongst the trees is the Queen of Rain, whom I will describe. As I describe, keep in mind that as you are seeing this, you hear, "Where have you gone?" in your head. So bookmark that.
Just like text after text.
Yeah. The Queen of Rain stands before you. You've seen depictions of her, similar to what you see, I suppose. You see a very tall, very beautiful, I suppose, woman hovering about a foot off the ground, barefoot in a long gown. You don't notice the color of her gown or her hair. What you notice is prism, the refracting light, as what you expected from all those depictions to be rain falling endlessly down her hair, down her arms, down her dress, a constant waterfall of individual raindrops. The light source is unclear, but it shines off of them, each one a bit of a rainbow. Her skin has a bluish tint to it, and the rainbows sparkle off of it. But as you draw closer, you see something that, as your senses thrum in a way that they never had before you met Glory, the Queen of Bones, you are certain this is something you would not have seen if you'd met her yesterday. You're not sure who in the world sees this now, but you know that it is something you are not supposed to see, expected to see, which is that these raindrops aren't raindrops. They're glass or crystal. They're shattering as they hit the ground. Not all of them do hit the ground, actually. They're not supposed to hit the ground. They are hovering around her. She's using power to keep as many of them as possible with her. But there is an endless flow of new ones falling upon her as she gestures, as she takes a step. The ones that slip through her fingers or from the toss of her hair shatter. There is a sense of loss every time they do. She steps towards you. When she lifts her foot, you feel a joy, an airiness, an expectation. It's almost a wonder that she doesn't just keep walking upwards into the sky. It's what you want to do. But when she brings her foot down for the step, you feel a weight, the heaviness of something about all these drops breaking underneath, anchoring her. But she does cock her head, toss of her hair, shudder, shudder, tinkle, tinkle. It is musical. As the sparkles catch your eyes. Young Lemma, you've come to pay me a visit. How kind.
Lemma, I think, didn't entirely realize what was going to happen when basically this shabby-looking man with a music box and a knapsack said, "Go that way." He was like, he expected more of a tribunal, and so he's caught off guard. And when he realizes what is happening, and when the full emotional weight of being in the presence of one of the main objects of reverence of his entire childhood hits him, he prostrates himself and he starts praying. He starts castigating himself, and he starts repeating words that he's been repeating to himself many times over the past year. He says, "I altered that which was not mine to alter. I went astray. I went astray. I altered that which was not mine to alter. I went astray. I went astray."
Is your face turned downwards? Or?
It's in the dirt.
You feel a bit of sting on your face. It's the bounce of tiny bits of broken glass, and then you feel a hand on your face that is the coolest water, the finest silk, as the Queen of Rain has kneeled before you and put her hand to your cheek. Lemma, dear, how I wish I could wave that away for you. I've put this off, but I can't any longer. And she tilts up your chin to make you sit up.
I do. I do. I cast my... I don't look her directly in the face, but I do as she indicates.
You're up, sat on your knees opposite each other. Her hair now, it's almost indistinguishable. It flows into her dress. Everything, it's like glass beads everywhere. The beads that once were rain splay out on the ground around her like a skirt. You actually can no longer tell if it's a gown at all, or if everything is these beads. And this close, you think you can hear a song in them, infinite songs. She says, "I'm here to ask you for something. I'm sorry that that's how we're to first meet. I promise I have boons for you in return. I've been carrying something of yours for a while now." And she pulls from her hair, perhaps, a glass bead. She says, "I'm sorry that my gift to you caused you this hope. Here."
Lemma reaches out for it with cupped hands, and it doesn't fall. It hovers above his cupped palms.
As you put your hands out, it falls gently into your hands. It is a crystalline teardrop that vibrates just a bit as it touches your skin. It's yours to do with as you wish. As you touch it, you know that it is your own hope that you are no poet. This is a mistake that will all be undone. That is not why I've brought you here, as I'm sure you know. You and your friends have been clever. You're very clever, Lemma. You've freed an old acquaintance of mine. I took no pleasure putting her in that tomb, but it was necessary. She needs to go back. Do you understand?
My queen, I understand nothing.
And as you say that, you feel a crystal bead amongst the ones falling into her hair that you know is yours. You know, you understand more than you'd like. There's so much I'd like to make happen for you, Lemma. But there's no fortunes I can grant if she destroys us all.
My queen, I am a heretic.
What do you mean?
I have ruined myself. I have gone astray. Why would you ask me for help?
And there is a flash of impatience across her face. There's time to unpack your heresy once we unravel your error, Lemma. I want your help because only you and your friends can undo what you've done. You are the ones who know the name, and you must erase it before that knowledge spreads. I do not want to speak harshly to you or any of my poets, and she caresses your face very gently, but I think it's what you will understand. If it weren't too late, it would be simplest to kill the four of you and erase that knowledge. But I have already felt her in the hopes, in the wishes, tangled up, even without the name. And that never would have been my first step, to be clear. But we don't have much time. And she leans back a little and puts her hands together and pulls them apart in the air. And a dagger made of what seems to be the same material as these drops appears, hovers, says, "This is for you. You're, as I said, very clever. You understand fortune, that it's fleeting and very dangerous. Use this once. Use it as I ask. Go back and destroy that name."
The bead that Lemma holds, is the meaning or the potential of that clear? Like, does that sort of emanate out of it? Like, is the bargain being offered clear?
They're unrelated. The bead
I see.
is just yours. It's not a bargain.
Okay.
She is telling you, like, separately, here's this dagger, go fix what you did. It's not a bargain.
Okay.
She continues, once you've done that, it will force her back into that cavern, into the cradle, where I can exile her again. It'll be good to see her again once, I confess, but this will be the last time. Do you understand what you need to do?
Lemma looks her full in the face for the first time. What does he see there?
You tell me.
Let's make a wee roll on that. 21 with hope.
I'm asking you to add to the description, but are you asking me for information?
I'm asking you for what intention, what motive do I see in that face? In a parting of these droplets, these shards of glass, do I see any kind of benevolence or good intention for all of the people who live in Lacuna?
Oh, yes.
Or do I see something else?
She wants to tear to pieces Glory the Queen of Bones and fully 100% for the benefit of Lacuna. She is, I don't even remember what you rolled.
21 with hope.
Yeah, that's very good. It's undisguised, completely genuine. There's no rancor towards any of you, your mortal foibles, but she was going to fuck this bitch up to save the world. And you are simply going to do what she has suggested, because obviously.
Lemma closes his fist over the bead, grasps the dagger, and bows, and says, I will serve you in whatever way I can.
And she leans forward and places a kiss on your forehead. And the scent of every flower that has ever bloomed in the land after a rainfall wafts past you.
Lemma quivers a little.
It is no service, Lemma. Not to me. You are doing what you do best. And I'm honored. And then, all at once, you are on your knees in the ground just off the path from Poet Hawthorne's. No peddler, only an agitated-looking Evelyn standing behind you. And of course, a rain glass dagger in one hand and a crystallized hope in the other.
What's happened?
Lemma tries to hide them.
God damn it, Lemma.
I'm so sorry. Wouldn't it be great if our characters got to have a conversation about these objects? Well, sorry.
You are the only thing to look at, but please. Is this an opposed check?
It sounds like we're opposing.
Are you really trying to hide them?
I feel like he would, unfortunately.
Instinct versus agility or something? What should we do here?
I think it'd be finesse for Lemma.
Instinct versus finesse. Yeah. 19 with hope, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I got a critical success, 2 6s. So I'm not sure how that works in an imposed check.
This feels like a live wire. This feels like the third rail. David doesn't even know. Crits on skill checks.
I'm speechless. It's almost as if the fate of the entire world depends on the arbitrary decisions of a few people.
I feel as though doubles beats,
I think so.
but I also feel as though we're house ruling all of this.
Or we just narratively play it out
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
however.
Yeah.
So Lemma tries to hide the bead and the dagger, and Evelyn reacts by perceiving it with a critical success.
Lemma, with suspicious dexterity, palms the bead and sort of, flips the dagger behind his arm.
And Evelyn, because she is staring at him, like, why did you just appear out of the ether? Sees it. And she frowns. What's happened? Are you all right? Why are you hiding that?
Lemma stares at her wide-eyed and says, I don't know. I don't know. And just hands them, like, palms up, presents them both to her.
And we will cut to the town square, where OrLeon is standing amidst a carnival.
I can't believe there's another reality happening right now.
And everything is more or less lovely. And you see the tall tortoiseshell Qatari woman bend over and assist the man on the ground who was injured. And he gets up. It's not like, oh, he was never hurt at all. It's not like it's erased. This Qatari woman isn't a goddess herself, but she clearly has powerful healing magic, and he's much, much better and able to stand. And he goes over to the woman who'd been near the door. It says, Winona, is she all right? Where's Winona? And she looks at him as though she's coming out of a trance. I think I was calling for her. I haven't seen her in hours. Winona, meanwhile, is in the shrine with Ginny. She is peering out. There's a sort of little window in the door. Who's peered out at this. turns around, says to Ginny, Fortune's here. Fortune and her court. I think that might be bad.
I, in this absolute whirlwind deluge of information and weirdness of a night, remember Fortune written next to Will, and a small shiver runs down my spine. Why do you think that's bad?
She and Aunt Glory, they used to like each other, but then not. I think she's gonna be mad.
Both Ginny and Carmela are shocked.
In that case, I will use a fear token to make the lantern light flicker strangely as the Zephyr Court lanterns draw into the square and their strange light filters in through. It flickers as they pass. It creates a strange sort of a strobe effect through window into the shrine. And as it hits Winona and passes again, she looks different as it hits her and falls. One moment she looks like Winona, and one moment she looks strangely like OrLeon, if OrLeon were a draggled girl. She's looking at you.
Please, Winona, you have to forgive me. It has been a night. Did you just say your Aunt Glory?
Oh, what known as that girl, right? I saved her, I think.
Who are you?
I'm OrLeon's friend, Cosmine.
Well, shit. Hello? Back up.
I've never heard you say that word before. And she grins.
Very flustered. That's not important. What's important is you saved Winona?
Oh, she's not a poet. She would not have survived my aunt.
Is she okay?
I don't know that much about... And she pats herself gently. Real bodies? Maybe. This is new for me.
I go to, reach out for her face to, look at her, but then I stop because I'm like, you're... Oh.
And as you put your hand out, she starts and gasps a little bit. She has never been touched.
And then I pull my hands back and look at my hands really quick. Go, oh, that's... Yeah. And I put the back down at my side going, okay.
No, please, would you? I don't know what's going to happen tonight. Would you touch me once at least?
Oh, okay. And I pull my hand back out from behind my back, my sword arm, because my shield arm still hurts. And I just reach forward and gently place it on the side of Winona Cosmine's face.
Oh. That's strange.
Yeah, I agree. This is a little strange. Aunt Glory, and you're not Winona. Oh, blessed heroes.
Yes. What should we do? And I think we might end the session there.
That feels good.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to Queen of Daggers, Heart of Fire, a production of Hagdeal Gaming. If you like what we're doing here, come say hi on Blue Sky or TikTok at Hagdeal Gaming. Leave us a review. We'd love to know what you think. And remember, as a wise person once said,
God damn it, Lemma.